You know, it's really funny.
What?
I used to start off with saying, welcome back for another episode of Tipsy Chronicles. I haven't done that in a long time.
Yeah.
I usually just say, hey, Lacey, what's up?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
I just don't like to be redundant. So I feel like,
Maybe changing it up.
yeah.
A little difference.
Yeah. And I don't really listen to podcasts, so I don't know what they do either.
You know, every time I've tried to, I end up falling asleep because it's like reading a book, but like the book's being read to you.
Yeah.
And so like I end up just like, and I'm worthless.
I can only do those books if the narrator is
Oh, yeah.
legit.
Oh, absolutely.
I've been pumped about a book and the narrator is just terrible. And I'm like, I can't do this.
No, absolutely not.
So I've kind of gone back to just reading, even though I haven't read in since I started this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've just been too busy with this.
I've been way too busy lately to pick up my book. But
Yeah, you do all types of things.
I do too many things, unfortunately.
Well, people don't know you on here just yet. So why don't we talk about those things?
All right. So, hey, everybody, I'm Lacey. Do a lot of different things from bartending to I own my own business and I do that on my days off. It started out as professional organizing with some house cleaning, led into a little bit of dog sitting and lawn care. Now I'm actually helping bars down on Rainy Street and 6th Street, you know, making them look better, putting some gardening, landscaping things going on. A lot of greenery.
Yes, I've seen your work and it is phenomenal.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
I know that you've been drawing since you were like 2?
Yeah, drawing and painting since I was like 2 or 3
But
years
how
old.
long have you been doing the gardening?
So my grandfather and my dad had me in the dirt when I was young. And I always just paid attention, was curious, asking questions. Why do you do that? Why do you do that? Little did I know that as I got older, I was like in my 20s and moved to Austin. Been here about like 16 years, I think now. And I was like, man, I really want to like grow my own strawberries. And then like this lady threw out a dresser next door. And I took the drawers and I drilled holes in them and I put them on like my porch and just planted some strawberries. And we had strawberries all year. And everybody was like, are you the strawberry lady? And I was like, oh man, here it goes. Like, this is how it starts. And then it just, well, now I want this. Now I want that plant. Now I want that plant. Oh, let's do cucumbers. Let's do tomatoes. And it just has grown and grown and grown. And now I'm at a point every year that I see my grandfather, like Christmas time, we trade seeds or seedlings. And it's like, hey, this didn't work here. Try it in your area because we're like 2.5 hours apart from each other. And so this year he was like, hey, mijita, I get you this like tomato. And I was like, oh, you got me a tomato plant? No, he poured a whole pack of seeds into one little 4-inch container. So there's like 45 tomatoes coming out of this one thing. And I was like, anybody I know needs some tomatoes? Because like I have 45 plants right now.
That's super cool.
But
no, that's awesome. So you definitely have a green thumb beyond just some landscaping for sure.
For sure.
Damn. Are you selling any of these veggies and fruits and all this stuff?
I actually pass them out to people I know just for free.
That's awesome.
I feel like food should be free.
Yeah.
I usually, whenever my personal garden has too much going on and my house can't eat all of it, I put some on a box on the fence with like a sign that says food is free, please take some. And usually that box is empty by the end of the day. People are walking their dogs and they just see it and they think it's cool and like, oh, tomatoes.
No, that is cool.
You know.
Did you get any other nicknames besides Strawberry Lady? Do they still call you Strawberry Lady?
No. I am called the gardener right now. I feel like I should dress up like the gardener from The Simpsons for like Halloween just to like throw everybody off.
Yeah.
Let's see. Spacey Lacey was my nickname at Alamo Draft House. I worked there for about 6 years. And it was because I was high every day and just not fully there.
Okay.
But that's how I got that nickname. And now my business that I own is called Lacey for Spacey. And yeah, we all need help sometimes. So I try to help everyone out I can in whatever project they got.
Definitely. Is there anywhere that people can find you easily?
Yeah, you can check out my Facebook or Instagram. It's just Lacey for Spacey. You can find me and
Awesome.
hopefully we can get you some help.
Yeah. I don't even think we follow each other on there yet. We got connected by Bo Hicks. So
Yeah.
shout out to Bo.
Shout out to Bo.
Great man there.
He really is. He's a good dude.
Yeah. And he's putting together Cheers Shop Bar, getting that back up and running.
Trying to get it ready right before South by.
Yeah.
Putting in a lot of work.
So I've learned a lot about you within the past week, but not enough, obviously. But you are still in the bar service industry.
Yeah.
And you've been doing that for a long time.
Since I was 16.
Yeah. So
Yeah. And I'm 35.
Yeah. So
Half my life.
almost 2 decades, right?
Right.
So happy almost birthday for that one.
Ugh, rough. Yeah, I'm from Victoria, Texas. It's about 2.5 hours south of here. And I started out, Montana Mike's, Johnny Carino's, things like that. Worked at a country bar called Cactus Canyon. I was a shot girl, and I walked around with like the glowing test tubes. And then eventually I got upgraded to the beer girl, which was you serve beer out of this like big cooler tub. But if nobody was out there and not buying anything, you had to climb up on it and do like little dances while you were waiting. I was like, this is like one step away from being a stripper. Like I can feel it. And so one day this lady came up and she rubbed her hand up my leg, like up my boot, and then tucks cash in my boot. And she was like, I'll see you later. And I stepped down and I was like, no, that's it, man. And I like walked in the office and his name was Kirk. I was like, hey, man. He's like, last day? I was like, yeah, absolutely. I was like, yeah. I'm done, dude. Like, and he goes, damn it. I had a bet going and I could have sworn you were going to make it to Friday. And I was like, he's like, you're the smartest one here. I don't know why you're even here. And I was like, I appreciate the compliment, but yes, I need to get the hell out of this place.
Yeah.
And then later on, I ended up working at this place called Shooters. Shout out to my girl, Kelly. She's still there holding down the fort, her and Mark. And it's a really cool place. It's like just a country bar. I got a dance floor in the center. It's all kinds of different people that go through. It's kind of one of the main places to go to if you go in Victoria, Texas.
Cool. And besides Shooters, do those other places still exist as well?
I don't know if Cactus exists anymore. I hope it doesn't. I'm going to be honest.
I think you can make a guest appearance as the gardener.
Dude, make it a better place.
Yeah.
I don't even know if gardening would help that place. It was just that's a dark chapter of everyone's life if you said that you worked there.
Yeah. I didn't mean to bring that up again then.
Trauma.
Very short amount of time. I owe you a drink.
Right.
Yeah, I was just curious how, since you haven't been there in a while, I guess you don't know, but I was just curious how the bars last out there.
Well, it's all the same people that live there, so they last pretty long. Okay. It's not like they have constantly turn and burn on new bars coming up. It's like the same 5 joints that eventually it just gets bought out and turned into something else.
Right.
But like if you grew up there, whatever you knew it as, that's what you always call it.
Okay.
Right. Like there's the Forum Club. You know that you're at the right place if the glass is broken on the front.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just picturing that right now.
Yep.
I want to see it in person.
I'll have to find a picture for you, for sure.
Cool.
But then I moved up to Austin in my early 20s. I've done Alamo Draft House for 6 years. I worked at a sports bar for 10 years. Currently, I'm working down on Rainy Street. I'm at Augustine, bartending there. I do door. I'm the gardener of Rainy Street. So,
and again, phenomenal work. So y'all check
it.
that out if you are listening and you're in Austin and you head down to Rainy Street, because it is phenomenal work.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, you deserve all the credit. So
we got really good people down on that street for sure.
Yeah. Well, you've been bartending for quite a while now, and I don't have enough females on here just yet. There's a lot of males,
Right.
So I don't get to hear a lot of what it's like to be a female bartender and some of the stuff you've potentially gone through.
Well, there are definitely some humdingers in there, that's for sure. You meet all kinds of different people all the time, and I feel like if you're a woman in the industry, you understand that there's a certain amount of bullshit you're signing up for that you have to like put up with. I do feel like over the years it's gotten better that more people are standing up, in general, men and women are standing up together, that like it's not okay to treat women that way just because they're the bar wench, like I knew what my job is. I know what my place is, but I'm still a human being.
Definitely.
Right. Once upon a time I was working at that sports bar for like 10 years and, I was bartending. It was a day shift too. I think I was covering for someone, to be honest with you. I don't even think it was actually my shift, which makes
that's how it works, right?
But it's usually the like saltier shifts that happen, right? And like I knew what I signed up for. I was in a good mood. We were all having a good time. We were all laughing, And this one guy, there's a pole like right in the center of the bar. It's a very inconvenient spot for it. But he starts to like slap on it. And I mean, it's not just a slap. Like you could hear it ring. And then like, you know, I asked him nicely, like, hey man, do you think maybe we could just like turn it down a little bit? Like it's a little excess. I was like, there's people eating with their kids behind you, because it's not just a bar. It's also like a full-blown restaurant. You know, if it was just a shady dive bar, like, what do I care, man? Break your hand. But like, you know, there's like little kids behind you and you're over here screaming fuck like left and right.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Like, just a little decency. So he starts giving me shit. And finally he's like, I'm going to just close my fucking tab. And I was like, dude, I'll close your tab, because now you're just being a dick. And I really just want you to stop. Like, I just want you to leave. I don't care. I'll pay you to leave, honestly. Like, I don't care. Like, it's not my day.
Yeah.
So he gets really enraged, ends up standing up on his chair, like on the like steps at the bottom of the chair. And he's like leaning over the bar, like he's trying to like swing at me. And you can see it because he keeps like starting to like tuck his arm like he's going to move it. And I just literally, I grabbed my wrist. And I stood there and I was like, please let me get paid today. Hit me in the mouth, dude. I will take this hit, not only to get out of this shift, but so you can get like mollywopped by everybody around you. Because at this point, 5 of my regulars are standing behind him like, do it, dude. I swear to God.
Yeah.
You know? And he ends up throwing in there that he's like, you don't know what I've fucking been through. I just got back from Hawaii, and it was where that island had burned down, and like all the people are jumping out into the ocean. He was like, you don't understand what kind of shit I've seen this week, and you're a piece of shit because you don't care about them. And I was like, hey man, actually I do. But none of that has anything to do with what you're doing right now.
Right.
And you're actually just further proving my point that you're a douche. Sit down, have a drink. Enjoy the time with us. You're just trying to fight me for no reason other than you're like super macho man. And like the fact that I'm punking you and I'm a little girl to you is just making you more mad. And now you want to physically hit me? Like, you're a real piece of work, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like he was under a lot of stress, but that does not justify
Yeah. Like
treating anybody that way.
Everybody's got terrible shit that happens to them on the daily. This is what makes us human.
Yeah.
Being able to sympathize with that is, you know, the bigger part. And for him to just like throw that in my face like it was like my fault that island burned down, I was like, dude,
yeah.
Do you even hear yourself right now? And the crazy part is he really wasn't that drunk.
I was going to bring that up.
He wasn't like to a point where I was like, oh, I'm going to cut you off because you're inebriated.
Right.
Like you're getting cut off because you're now just trying to beat up people.
Yeah.
Like,
how many drinks do you think he had? Just estimate, I guess.
I mean, I know that I served him like 3 beers and 2 shots. Now, do I know if he went anywhere else before that, or if he had a roadie in his car, because it's Dripping Springs and, you know, we wild in the Wild West out there. Like, it's a little country out there.
Yeah.
You know, you never know how much, or, you know, I don't know if he's on any medication. I don't know if, you know, maybe his wife left him and he's having that day where he's out with his buddies drinking and he's just looking to get some anger out or whatever. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe I remind him of his wife. I don't know, man, but it's just not something you want to put up with, is like dudes literally physically trying to attack you or think that it's okay to touch your body in general. There's a reason why the bar is so long between us. It's so you can't get to me. But, and then it ends up, I, you know, start on Rainy Street. I ended up getting fired from the sports bar. They said it was my attitude. Well, I'll just agree with it for being on, you know, camera purposes. Okay. But, you know, there's a lot of underlying things that happen in that place that I think in the long run, it's a blessing from the universe. I don't think I would have ever actually left that bar because they're all like family to me. But I think maybe the universe did me a favor and was just like, hey, it's time for your next chapter.
Yeah. And look at this chapter now. It's
really
awesome.
been, yeah, dude, it's really been flourishing. I feel really good about what's been happening lately. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm tired. I just worked 21 days straight, but I'm really enjoying like what kind of results I'm getting out of all the work I've been doing.
Yeah.
But so I'm working on Rainy Street and I was working the door that day. It was like I think it was like a Saturday. It was a beautiful sunny day. Everybody was like in a good mood. The vibes were good. And I see that same cocksucker come walking down the street. And it's him and his buddy. It was like the same 2 dudes that were at the bar. And you know, you're a bartender. Like you don't forget that kind of shit when that kind of like stuff happens to you. And I saw him and I had sunglasses on. I had a hat on. I think I had a jacket on because it might have had a breeze like that morning, whatever. He didn't really recognize me. Came in. I immediately was like, hey, other people I work with, just to give you a heads up. me and this guy do not have a good relationship whatsoever. This is what happened at my previous bar I worked at. I just want to let you know in case this guy gets a couple drinks in him and then he wants to actually come take that swing he never got to take. God forbid, because I don't want to deal with that. But, I just want people to be prepared, because if you see me rolling with a dude out in the street, I want you to understand why this is happening. And sure enough, I think it clicked and he remembered me, and he got his buddies and his drinks, and he came and sat on a table right by where the entrance is. So he was just staring at me for the entire time that he's sitting there. And I was like, oh, God, here it goes. I can already feel it. And luckily there was another gentleman. He was waiting on his wife. She was up at the hotel behind us, and she was getting ready for the evening. And he was like, I came down to just, smoke a cigar, have an old fashioned. So I just leaned into hanging out with him and was like, hey man, I'd really enjoy talking to you. Where are you from? What are you doing? Tell me your whole life story, anything, so I don't have to go or look that way, because I don't need to feed the fuel of that fire.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to instigate anything. This isn't this bar's problem. It's, it's just something that happened to me. I can't ask them to be like, hey, we got to kick that guy out because he was an ass once upon a time.
Yeah. It seems that also, not that you were, maybe you were, you weren't at this time at the sports bar. You just seem like you're in a better place when that guy came in the second time. You seem a little more relaxed and chill. And
for sure.
Peaceful. Yeah,
definitely for sure. I think there's been some, maybe little scrapes of sanity I've gotten back since I haven't been there. I've now been referring to that sports bar as the trauma house, because we all went through a lot of trauma together. Our owner was in a car accident. Our GM died of cancer. We've all had somebody that we've lost while being there together. And I think trauma like that, it makes it hard to walk away, because, you bond in your family and you think you all love each other, but you all kind of still treat each other like shit. Yeah. And, while everybody does have really great traits and they're all really good people, and I do love every single one of them with the bottom of my heart, sometimes my friend explained it to me like this. He goes, maybe you're just you're a crab. I was like, a crab? What are you saying it like it's my fault? He was like, no. He was like, crabs grow out of their shells. He goes, and maybe just that shell wasn't for you anymore. Now you've grown out of that shell and you're just growing into a different shell. He was like, it's not that there's anything wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with them. It wasn't that. It's just bygones be bygones. You're just growing into a different person. I was like, oh my God, am I growing up? Is this what this feels like? This is weird. 35, look at me go.
I think that's got to make you feel pretty good to see how you've evolved in the transition of something that maybe was a little toxic for you, and then you're just like, look, man, I just want peace. I don't want any trouble.
Right. Right. I mean, it also helps. I definitely am not drinking as much as I used to. It makes a huge difference. It's something I feel like every person struggles with in the industry. It's hard to not want to drink. Everybody else is having a blast, and then you get off work and you're tired. You've had a long shift, whatever. You had a great day and you want to celebrate, or you've got personal shit going on. You want to go have a drink, or, you want to go decompress. Like me personally, I love to go shoot some darts at Boomers and just have a couple drinks and then go home, hang out with my dog, play some video games, and call it a day.
Yeah. Speaking of darts, I played for the first time 2 weeks ago, and I did pretty well.
Yeah?
Yeah, it'd been a long time.
It was something I got into when I took a break from drinking. I took a 90-day hiatus. I was curious if I was actually an alcoholic or not. And I was like, wait, I'm like 60 days in. Like, if you're an alcoholic, you would have broke that 3 days in, Yeah. And so about 90 days in, you realize, really not an alcoholic. I could actually go longer. I felt really good. You feel healthier. You've got more clarity. You're not as crabby when you wake up because you're not like hungover. And even if you're not super hungover to where your body is in pain, you still have some type of hangover of some sort.
Definitely.
Mental fuzziness, whatever it is. But I feel like it's been really good for me that I haven't been as deep in the drinking game as I used to be. It's probably easier to do as much work as I do. Not drinking.
Yeah, you got a lot going on there.
7 days a week, man.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that drunk or hungover, honestly.
No, not with the sun. You know that heat's coming, man.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, it was February and we were already getting sunburn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, April's going to be, it's not even March. It's April is the one that I'm going to be like, this is going to be bad.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Because that winter was brief.
Yeah. You're going to need like a 3-hour nap every day if you hit the sun. Just go out for a little walk or go to get your mail. It's done.
It's done. It's like when you take a shower and and then you get out and then you get to your car and it's so hot you're already sweating. You're like, I feel like I still just got out of the shower, but it's actually just your sweat. Not looking forward to July.
No, no. I didn't mean to cut you off on your story there. That wasn't.
No.
So you were hanging out with the cigar guy.
Yeah. So we're hanging out with him. Luckily, his wife comes up later on. She's like, "Oh, are you stealing my man?" And I'm like, "No, actually, he's being a real polite gentleman and helping me in a situation." He's like, "I'll tell you later, honey." He's like, "She's a good kid." And I was like, "Thanks, man. I appreciate it." They end up taking off on their night. Him and his group get up. They start to wander around to the other bars. You know, we did a shout out, just keep an eye on him, you know, because we have like a group between all the door people that work on Rainy Street. And sure enough, it's a couple hours later, we see him coming back. And every time he walked by me, he's just doing this full blown, like, look up, look down. And I'm like, God, man, like, it's like you feel it like every time that it's like, oh, this is going to be it. He's actually going to take this swing, you know?
Yeah.
And then sure enough, man, he left it all alone. Wandered off with his buddies, got in an Uber. It's the last I've seen him since. So.
That's good. Was it his buddy who tried to instigate a little bit before they left?
Oh,
That's something about bubbles or something,
yeah.
right?
So we have bubbles that blow out the front of the building. You know, it helps to attract people that like this is our spot where we're at, because there's a lot of construction going on down there, so it's kind of hard to navigate everything. And yeah, when he was leaving, he hits me on the shoulder and he's like, "Hey, man, we came here for the bubbles." And I was like, "Okay, cool, man. Y'all have a good day. Don't touch me."
Yeah, ever again in your life.
Don't look at me.
Sober or drunk, just walk backwards.
Literally, when I was working at that sports bar, there was a guy that he was going into the bathroom because the men's room was by one of our service stations. And I was just at the service station, like bringing in some beers, whatever. And he walked by and he was really excited about whatever just happened in the sports ball world. And he did like the slap on the ass thing like you would do in the NFL or baseball or any of the other sports. And I just turned and looked at him. I was like, "What the fuck, bro? Like, that's my butt." Like,
yeah.
And so I immediately like go and I like tell everyone, I'm like, "Hey, like that guy just touched my ass. Like, what happens next?" And they're like, "Did you tell him not to?" And I'm like, well, that was my first thought.
Wow.
My second thought was, I don't know, could somebody maybe go tell him to leave, not do that? Oh, I don't know. Should I go tell his wife that's still sitting at the table? And she didn't even care. She watched the whole thing too. She just like thought it was funny. And I was like, okay, like why? Like my body is not a wonderland. Y'all don't get to touch it. Like,
I'm curious if you would have been the bad person if you had slapped him in the face automatically.
Just with the personality I've had and the attitude I've had over the years, I would have definitely been made out to be the bad guy. Probably would have thought I instigated it.
That's a damn shame.
It happens, you know. But there's a lot of different personalities out there, and I can say like people that know me from like my Alamo Draft House days. Dude, my dad was dying at that time. He was sick. He had Alzheimer's for like 9 years. I just wasn't mentally in the best of places. I was like a super thunder cunt back in those days. Like I wouldn't put it past anybody that I worked with in that time if they were like, "Oh, Lacey, super bitch," like 100%. I'm very, very grateful that over time I have grown into a healthier, better person to recognize, one, that I was that way, apologize for it, and two, to try to be a better person because of it. But I don't fault anybody that knows me from the industry that has seen the different varieties that I have to offer as a personality.
Yeah. Strawberry Lady and Thunder Cunt. Those are the names I've received so far. Two different worlds.
It's like 50 Shades of Grey, but it's just like a 50 Shades of personality.
I think the industry, unless you let it get to you and you rot, it helps you evolve into a better person.
It does. You know, I feel like some of the strongest people come out of the industry.
Yeah.
You know, I think it should be required. You should be in the industry at least a year, maybe while you're in high school or college. You know, and I feel like it will make you a more humble person because then you understand what those people have to go through.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think about it sometimes like as a woman, you know, men that hit on me or, you know, are gross or the things they say to you, they think it's just like funny and you're okay with it. And like, don't get me wrong, I cuss like a sailor. I have a foul mouth. I have a really good sense of humor about things. I did stand-up comedy for about 3 years before COVID. But there's certain things that people say to you and you like look at them and you're like, bro, are you serious? Like yesterday this guy told me about anus honey. And I was like, I'm going to be real with you, man. I don't think I want you to finish the rest of this sentence. Like, I don't want to know how y'all came up with this. I like walked away. I kept doing other things like on the other side of the bar. But then it was like the running joke for the rest of the night. They'd be like, oh, it's just that old anus honey again. And I'm like, this is going to be a bumper sticker somewhere by the end of this. I can feel it. But
Should
like,
be.
But like, I still to this day, I don't want to know.
Yeah.
I don't want to know.
Yeah.
But like, why would that be something that you would approach a woman with to talk about? And then by the end of the night, the guy ends up giving me his number and asking me if I want to go back to the hotel with him. And I'm like, okay, so you gave me $20 for my tip, but you assume that means I'm hired.
For the anus honey.
Lucky me.
Wow.
Chivalry. They say it's dead, you know?
Maybe he wanted you for some marketing or something.
You think he has bees?
It's possible. It's possible. Nothing surprises us anymore.
Not in this industry. I have seen it, heard it all. The other night there was a homeless dude dancing for about 8 hours straight. Like, I got tired watching because I was like, dude, you have to sit down at some point, right? And
meth?
I think so.
Okay.
Absolutely. Like
8 hours. It's a good run.
And he was like on the stairs. It was like in front of Stagger Lee. And then there's about, I think, like 6 steps. And every time he kind of like missed a step, he would try to play it off like it was a part of the move. And he'd like keep going. And I was like, I mean, props to you, dude.
Yeah.
But like, sit down.
I like his style at least.
But like, drink some water, bro. Like, you've just been raving for like 8 hours straight.
Damn.
And I honestly, because the music gets so loud down there, like I couldn't tell you what he was actually listening to. Because there was like a live band going here. There was a live band going that way. We had a DJ. They had their music on. And like, unless you're right in front of the building, you don't actually know where the sound is coming from.
It could have been his own song. He could have been his own DJ. Yeah. I've seen it. I've seen silence and someone's just getting down.
I mean, when I was going to Cheers the other day to go put up some greenery, it was probably about, say, 11 a.m. I went down there and other people were there. We try not to go by ourselves. We try to go when someone else is working. So we're always like eyes on people because it's kind of crazy down on Dirty Six these days. There was a woman taking a shit on the sidewalk. And I was like, oh, hell yeah. Like, it's nothing like some good morning coffee, y'all. I got to go refresh my brain and reassess my life. But like, there's also this side of you that goes, I'm really grateful for how hard I work.
Yeah.
Because I'm not in that position. And I feel for those people. I do. And I try to pass out water bottles, bananas, food, whatever I got in my backpack that I can spare. But there's another part of me that it's like, why are you doing this right here in the sidewalk?
Yeah. That's unnecessary.
Like
all those alleyways.
They're there for you.
Yeah.
Go to the alley.
Yeah.
Why are you in the sidewalk where everybody's walking?
As far as the homeless people go down there on Dirty, when you do give them stuff, are most of them receptive and thankful, or do you get the ones that are like, I don't want this shit, and they kind of...
I've seen like 1 or 2 that like throw it down on the ground.
Okay.
Because I try to not give people money because then I feel like it puts you as a target. Like, oh, that person carries cash.
Sure.
And I don't carry cash anymore. We're set up to where we get paid weekly with direct deposit. And so I don't carry cash anymore. So now I don't have that fear that I used to have because I used to like really be concerned being a bartender making cash and you're walking out with like $475 a night.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't want to like open up my wallet. The dude sees that I have a buttload of cash and then be like, oh, here's $5. And then you're marked as a target every time you walk by that guy because he lives right by where you're walking at. You know, like I try to be smarter about it all. But I always have a bunch of water bottles and Gatorade and bananas in my backpack because gardening and you're outside, potassium. You need to just stay hydrated because the sun gets to you no matter where you're at. And even down on Rainy, even though there's all these high rises coming up around it, and they're blocking the sun. The more the glass panels go up, you get a reflection from the sun, so you're still actually getting cooked out there.
Yeah.
So I'm always trying to give them like bananas, water here, you know, just stay semi-hydrated. And I've only had like 2 guys reject it, and I was like, well, you'll leave it on the ground. Some other guy's going to come pick it up. I guarantee it because they're always fighting.
Yeah. I don't go down there enough. I was just curious what it was like now.
I feel like over on Rainy, there's definitely less. You might like see like 1 or 2 within the week of just they're walking around looking for cigarette butts on the street, whatever. I do feel like over on 6, I've seen a lot more. But I think there's also like a clinic over there or somewhere where they can check in at night. You know what I mean? Kind of like a shelter.
Yeah.
So I think that's also why I see so many in that spot, is because that's where that shelter's at. So they're all either just waking up or just getting in, or however it works. I'm not 100% on that.
Yeah. Still over there on 7th, I believe, but I couldn't. Maybe they moved it, but I think it's...
Yeah, it's like 7th and it's in between 7th and 6th, I think, on the corner. Yeah.
Yeah, I see that quite a bit still. So we still got a little time here. I did want to bring up something. So you said you stopped drinking.
Yeah.
For a little bit, and then you drink again. I haven't asked this in a while. What do you like to drink?
I love Dripping Springs vodka. I don't know why. It's smooth. It's like my favorite thing to drink. I just do it with soda and some lime juice. I've actually been running a lot lately and trying to lose some weight. So it's always kind of been like my go-to in my mind that like, oh, if I just drink vodka soda, I might have a chance of losing weight, which I will say after my Alamo Draft House days, I have dropped dramatic weight. I used to drink Ziegenbach all the time. We had it on draft for $2.50 a like large pint.
That'll do it.
And that's all you had to say was $2.50. And then I started Ziegenbach for $2.50, and then I'd get a dripping with a pickleback and dripping chilled. And so that was kind of like my combo wombo for a while. And then I just bloop, 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 bloop. And I was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. So I switched to just drinking Dripping Springs, and that's what I've had like the past couple of years.
Since you brought up pickles and pickleback, I'm curious, when someone asks you for a pickleback shot, now we have to ask these days, but originally it was Jameson.
It was. It started in New York, Jameson with a pickleback. But I think as it crawled its way to Texas, we just like so much vodka down here. I mean, you got to think about, especially out in that like more country area of like Dripping Springs. I mean, Deep Eddy's out there, Drip is out there. A lot of people like vodka these days. I've actually been seeing recently a lot of people doing like tequila with a pickleback. And
I've seen that a couple times.
And I was like, okay, that's a little different. But, you know, I'm also like, I don't do tequila anymore. After my 23rd birthday, like, I'm done with tequila.
Game over.
Oh, yeah. Like, occasionally I'll get a margarita just because it sounds good with dinner or whatever. But it's not like my go-to for sure.
We should try a gin pickleback just to see what happens. Just to see what happens.
Only if we do still Austin gin.
Fine.
My buddy works over there.
Okay.
And his girlfriend is a good friend of mine.
Okay. There's a wild gin as well, so we got to do one of each. That's a female-owned operation there. So,
ooh, okay. Yeah, I'm all about supporting the females.
Yeah. So we'll do one of each of those and see. This could be a very bad idea.
This is going to be a terrible idea.
But I do love gin.
Do you?
So, yeah, that would be my go-to.
I'm a vodka vessel.
Vodka's number 2. I like rye. And look, I can't. Rumplemints is beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
It's the devil's dick in Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I broke up with her. I can't anymore. She was ruining my life. That was like the worst relationship I've ever been in.
I was born with it in my veins. So shout out to you, Pops.
Thanks,
Dick.
Dad. No, actually, a buddy of mine, when I met him, I was having Rumplemints. I was sitting at Boomer's, and my buddy met me there, and he sits down, and he's like, dude, are you drinking Rumplemints? I was like, yeah, man, it's where I'm at in my life. And it was a pretty dark chapter, I'm not going to lie, but I was literally drinking Rumplemints, and this bartender had taught me that if you do cranberry behind it, it makes it like easier to take it. And he called it a peppermint because it was clear and red and looked like the red and white, right? And I did it, and I was like, oh, shit, that is easier. And I was like, or my palate's just numb because I'm drinking kerosene-flavored peppermint. Like,
Yeah.
And then he eventually, man, you think you get fat from beer, dude. Drink shitloads of Rumplemints and tell me how big you can get.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like that girl that swelled up in Willy Wonka, the like plum, or right, blueberry? I think she's a blueberry.
Blueberry, I think.
Okay,
so,
yeah, that's what I felt like. I felt like I was just like, awful.
The opposite happened to me because I was drinking so much of it, I didn't want to eat.
Oh, no.
So I had the opposite reaction when I was going real heavy in the Rumple.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No. Mine was just my body retained that sugar so bad. I was like a potato on 2 toothpicks. It's just literally. I do like Monopoloa though. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
Potato vodka.
Yeah.
It's a good backup for Dripping Springs because not everybody carries it. It's like the further I get away from Dripping Springs, people are like, "Oh, what's that?" And I'm like,
Delicious is what it is.
"It's 5 times distilled.
Mm-hmm.
Like I shout out to Tito's, they're a great company. I personally, it's not my flavor. And I think it's just because like I can actually taste like that little rubbing alcohol kind of flavor at the back of vodka.
Sure.
And that's what I try to not taste when I drink vodka. Like I want it to taste like air, like there's nothing there.
See, I don't like a dirty vodka, but I enjoy that taste of alcohol.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I do love a dirty martini.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Lightly dirty or
no,
heavy?
like filthy.
Yeah.
Anus honey, filthy. Full circle, baby.
Do you that was very good.
Thanks.
Do you do craft cocktails at all, even though you keep it pretty simple?
So right now I do work at Augustine. It's a cocktail lounge, and so they have some really cool cocktails they just rolled out. One of them is a gin base. It's really good. It's called the Ladybird Lavender.
Oh.
So it's still gin, and it's got some creme de violet, and then some lavender in it. It's delicious. Little champagne on top.
Yeah.
It's really pretty. It's got like a lemon wheel for like a lily pad on it. It's a very pretty cocktail.
Is it annoying to make when it's busy?
I used to think that it would be when I first started. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do when I get in the weeds? But honestly, everybody's just like vibing and having such a good time that I haven't really met anybody yet that's like impatient about it. I mean, I had one guy bust my balls the other day and he was like, what, you never poured a beer before? I'm like, you just ordered 12 Modelo's and they're all in a can and you ordered them with a glass with a tahini rim. So this is going to take a second.
Yeah.
I could also stop and go slower. Did you want to drink this? Okay, cool.
Yeah, we can go all foam and we can put that tahini just in the bottom of that glass too.
I could just put the can in the
yeah.
fucking glass and hand it to you,
there's
buddy.
a lot of different ways we can go.
Like, man, I was trying to like actually get you a drink out of it.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do, sir. Bust my balls. What do I care?
That impatience, it's amazing.
It's like a sense of entitlement that happened to everybody after COVID. Like we were also used to getting what we wanted because at the click of a button in our hand, we were getting that instant gratification for whatever we were doing. And we didn't have to deal with anybody else. And we felt like we were in charge and in control. And then we got let out of the cave again and back into society and we all forgot about manners and shit. It's like a thing. Like treat other people the way you would like to be treated.
Yes, we talk about that a lot on here. Just be nice.
Dude, it's not that hard.
Nope.
Not that hard.
Nope. We're going to extend a little bit here because I want to talk about an espresso martini.
Oh, yes. All right. So yesterday I was working and this lady came in. It's her and this other lady and a guy, and they're celebrating the guy's birthday. And he's chumming it up and he's like, yeah, I'm like fucking 80 years old. He was honestly probably like 48, I'd say, maybe 46. Okay. He didn't seem anywhere near 80 to me for sure. Birthday jokes, whatnot. We go through it. And she was like, I saw y'all have a sign outside and it says best espresso martini. And I was like, yeah, I heard we won like best on the street. She was like, oh my God. Okay. I really want to try it because I just had an espresso martini and let me tell you, it was trash. And I'm not going to throw out the bar, name or anything like that. I'm not here to like bash other bartenders. It's not what it's about. It's just more about the situation. So she took a picture of the drink. She took a picture of the menu, what it says the ingredients are in it. And then she told me that she went and sat down and it was literally orange. Like it was a bright orange color. And I was like, did they just give you a straight glass of chilled Aperol? Like what, Campari? Like what the fuck is that? And she goes, this is what they said their espresso martini was. And I was like, bro, never in my life like have I seen one that looks like that. So then she shows me the picture of the menu items and it says it has egg white in it. And I was like, okay, well that kind of makes sense to make like the frothy top, that. But then it says it had bitters in it. And I was like, did a French 75 and an old fashioned fucking have a baby? Like, what is this terrible drink? And she goes, I did what, I feel like anybody would do. And I went back up to the bartender and I was like, hey, this drink is just not what I thought it was going to be. It doesn't even taste good. Can I just like get something else or whatever? And the guy turns around, looks her in the eye and calls her a twat. And like, I understand that there's like Karens and Sharons and Darrens out in this world that, they come in with a mood already. But as a person in the industry, if you want to make money, you don't like talk to people like that.
Yeah.
I would have been like, hey, you know what? If you don't like the way that I made it, I could, grab someone else and maybe they could remake it for you if you'd like to retry it. Or is there something else I can make for you? And he would take that cocktail away. You would dispose of it. So we stopped looking at this eyesore of whatever you want to call a cocktail.
Yeah.
And then, we try to, make the situation better, because you want the whole point of all of this is so that the guest has a good time and wants to come back.
Exactly.
And if so, you don't create an environment where these people want to come back and see you or understand that you're a humbled human being too. I think that's kind of what people like the most about me, is that I'm so real and honest. They're like, damn, you're a human being. I'm a human being too.
Yeah.
Let's party. And I'm like, that's the point. I don't want to deal with the other guys.
I'm curious how long that individual has been working in this industry. Maybe he's burned out, or maybe he's brand new. It's one or the other.
It's one or the other. I mean, it could also be like, maybe it's an upscale place. So they pinkies up, nose up, think they're better than the average human on the street. Me personally, I feel like I'm a peasant of the streets. I try to think of everybody as royalty around me. And if you treat them that way, they feel that way. And you never know, you could be making that person have a whole better day.
Absolutely.
Just from the way that you treat them. I understand that we're bartenders and it's like free therapy, but sometimes it's good for us to get our, little bit off our chest with them too.
Yeah.
And they see that you're human, and then you have like this whole connection. And next thing you know, you guys are laughing and exchanging numbers. When are you going to be in Pittsburgh? I'll be in Pittsburgh. Let's go hang out.
Yeah.
Like, it's interesting.
I don't see where people need to take their cocktail making skills to a personal level when somebody doesn't like it. If somebody doesn't like it, it's their preference. They're allowed to.
I'm like, do you understand how many people are on this planet?
Yeah.
Not everybody is going to love what comes out of your makes of your hands.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's got a different palate. Everybody's a different person. Just in that group of 3 people alone, I guarantee all 3 of them don't like the same thing. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
I also don't understand though, how when you can tell, like I look at IDs for a living, you can generally kind of like tell we're in our 30s. I can see somebody be like, you're in your 40s, 50s. You can generalize it.
Yeah.
I never understand how people like in 40 and up don't know what they want to drink. Like, how have you been on earth this long and you go to a bar? Like, I can tell you go to a bar, bro. And I know what you drink because you got the gin blossom nose going on. So like, let's just be honest right now. You're looking for gin. And he's like, I think I'm going to get some Makers. And I'm like, no, you're not. Keep lying to yourself, bro.
No. They do. They people like to venture out, especially if they're on vacation, try something a little different, but then they realize that was probably not a good move.
Right.
And their night ends early, or somebody gets sick.
Or they get something sugar filled and they're super hungover the next day.
Mm-hmm. So just be careful what you want to venture out and
Vodka soda.
With some lime juice.
With some lime juice. Just a little bit. I can't be getting too sweet these days. I got to keep it bitter and sweet.
Well, Lacey, it's been absolutely amazing having you on here. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy ass schedule to be a part of this wonderful, wonderful project I have.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, man. It's been my pleasure.
Thank you. And you want to let people know where they can find you again in case one of your services is needed?
Yeah, for sure. So I definitely bartend down on Rainy Street at Augustine, and then I own Lacey for Spacey. If you ever need help with your dog, your garden, your life, we all need help sometimes. You can find me on Instagram or Facebook.
Awesome. Thanks again.
Yeah. Thank
Cheers.
you.